Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. This is Fallen Yeshua.
And Sister T.
And we haven't done one of these videos in a long time. We've been busy. I've been busy. You been busy?
I've been busy.
Yeah, we've been busy. Excuse me. We were asked, could we do more of our together videos? Sure. Sure we will. So, we're going to start right here. And, one of the things that we like to talk about was marriage. So we're going to do a marriage video. We've been asked a lot of questions recently about marriage, a lot of questions recently about marriage and things like that. So we decided to more or less address them. Oh, you can look at her shirt. Look at that. Just live it. Patriarchy rules. I'll leave a link in the description where you can purchase these shirts after Shabbat. Anyways, marriage. The state of marriage. The state of marriage. The state of marriage is actually, marriage is in a bad place right now, especially those amongst the faith. And that's one reason why I really love the contributors, the commenters in our channel, because I've noticed that a lot of people that watch our channel, like when my wife does a video, Cynthia does a video, I see a lot of women comment, and I see a lot of, yes, me and my husband, me and my husband, me and my husband, my husband and I, yes, my husband, my master, yes, sir, my sir. I mean, and it's encouraging because there are so many married women listening to this channel. And that's what we're trying to bring. We're trying to have and to encourage marriage. When my wife, Sister T, talks to a lot of married couples, a lot of sisters, it's always encouraging. It's always encouraging, that when they reach out and they communicate with her. And it's not just, my husband. I mean, we're getting, communications where women are like, I want to be a better wife. What? You mean you're not starting off your comment with, well, my husband, that nigga ain't, and he ain't. They're starting it off with, I want to be a better. I need to learn how to be quiet. I need to learn. I'm just like, what? What? What do you guys say?
Amazing. What a wonderful blessing. I'm
What?
loving the married women that I do speak with. Some have even been able to bless me with words of wisdom as well. So it's been a wonderful thing. And I do love the fact that the women that I do speak with or get an opportunity to speak with, everyone is striving or desiring to know what they can do better instead of pointing the finger at the husband. They're really, really earnest about getting their marriage and their household together and being in proper order. So it's beautiful.
Hallelujah. And with that also being said, we've gotten several communications from single women. And I will give this warning to a lot of you single women. Be careful who you listen to. A lot of these women who are single, who are giving advice on marriage and a virtuous woman, are women who are going to keep you single. I mean, let's take it this way. Let's say you're a single woman or you just recently turned single. So I mean, you just recently got divorced. How are you fit to give counsel on marriage? Honestly, how are you fit to give any sort of counsel? In fact, many of these women, because you all, a lot of you sisters are coming to me and asking me about what do I think about this person, what do I think about that person. I don't really get into that. I more or less get you with look at their fruit. A lot of the women who are giving counsel to keep you single, especially if they have just recently turned single. I mean, let's keep it real. If you have recently turned single, you're not going to give other sisters counsel that is going to have them get married. Let me give it to you this way. Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 13, starting at verse 15. Every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, and a man will cleave to his like. A man will cleave unto those that are like him. But that's not going to get you what you need. Like, for instance, for myself, when I listen to people that are wise, that are stronger, that have shown fruit in production. I don't listen to people who are not doing anything. I'm sorry. Like homesteading, coming out of her. I listen to people who have been doing it for a long time. I listen to their counsel. Like I said, Elder Boaz, Pastor Fox, House of Coleth, which is where you can get these wonderful shirts from. Pastor Dow, um, brothers along that like, who have been doing it longer than I have. I listen to them. I'm not going to go to a person who's living dead smack in the middle of a city and say, brother, what is it like to live off grid? Or what is it like to come out of her? What struggle should I look at? Because these people have no problem answering the question. They'll be like, brother, you got to watch out for the coyotes and the lions and the tigers and the bears. And they're speaking from someone that they heard. They're not speaking because of experience. They're speaking of things that they heard. We got to be really careful who you're listening to in today's time, because a lot of people have mouths, a lot of people have platforms. If I see a bunch of single women going one way, sisters, I wouldn't go that way. Not if your goal is to be and do what the Bible says, and to, what's it saying? What is it? Timothy, First Timothy.
First Timothy.
I believe it is. I believe it's in First Timothy, where it talks about.
What do you want to know?
But yeah, chapter 5. Read from chapter 5, starting at verse 11.
Yes,
Listen to that, sisters.
Okay. Son 11. But refuse the younger widows, for when they become headstrong against Hamashiach, they desire to marry, having guilt because they put aside their first belief. Moreover, they learn to be idle, going about from house to house, and not only idle, but also gossips and busybodies, and speaking what is improper. So I resolve that the younger widows marry, bear children, manage the house, give no occasion to the adversary for reviling. For already some have turned aside after Satan. If any believing man or...
That's good.
Okay.
So right there, you are told to get married, guide the house. Otherwise, raise up the children. Otherwise, you'll likely turn into a gossip. That's what it's saying. But yet we see so many women who are willing to gossip and talebear and slander and talk crap. It's amazing when I see, so many single, once again, women talk about being a virtuous woman. I look at the married women and they are being the virtuous woman, and the single women are talking about being the virtuous woman. And it's interesting to me to see so many single sisters talk about being a virtuous woman, and they all run the Proverbs 31 and they claim that they are virtuous. That's what they do. They post it everywhere. Oh, I'm a virtuous woman, I'm a virtuous this, I'm a virtuous that, and virtue. Let's go with the Bible says, okay? Because everyone turns to Proverbs 31 to claim virtuous, right? Let's turn to Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 26. Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be doubled. So, sisters, if you are a virtuous wife, your husband's days will be doubled. A virtuous woman, so we're talking about virtuous wife, not talking about virtuous woman, rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. A good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear Yahweh. So a good wife is given as a portion to them that fear Yahweh, which means a bad wife is given to who? To him that does not fear Yahweh. But we hear so many women, these men don't fear Yah. They don't love Yah. Maybe it's because you don't love them. It doesn't matter how many verses you put up or how many, how good you look in your head covering. Yah will reveal your secret parts. He knows what's inside of you, and he will bring it out of you. He will know, if you can fake and feign a submissive wife all day long, but at the end of the day, he's going to reveal to you and to everybody around you that that's not what you are. You can fake all that. You can turn on the camera and put on your submissive face. Put it on. Come on. Just for the sake of this exercise. Put it on. There it is. Oh, look at Sister T. What would be the point of her having this face if that's not who she is? That's called being a liar, a deceiver. And there's a lot of deceivers in Israel today. And that's why I give this warning to sisters and even the brothers. You got to know who you're listening to. You've got to know what you're doing. If you are a wicked woman, you're largely going to land on wicked men, period. You know, my belief is this. And if you're a righteous woman, you're going to land on a righteous man. My belief is this. You know, a lot of you talk to me and outside of, you know, YouTube, you know, I tend to talk a tad bit differently than I do on YouTube, just a tad bit. I'm still as fiery, but just a tad bit. But one of the things that I tell a lot of you, you know, who converse with me on a more personal level, I believe this. We need niggas and hoes. They need each other. And here's the reason why. Because for every nigga that takes away a hoe, it weeds out the fakes so that the righteous man, the righteous woman, and the righteous man can find each other. The righteous woman can find a righteous man. But if we got all these game playing, stage playing hypocrites, all these fake ass Israelites who are nothing but hoes and tricks and thugs and gangsters who come into this faith and act like and make the faith exactly what Christianity is, which is a club. Christianity is a club. When you go to the black Christian church, what do you see? What do you see?
A bunch of single black women.
A bunch of single black women and them thugs who were up there trying to get one of them.
It's a little different though.
Okay. This is a black Christian church expert. Go ahead, black Christian church expert.
Probably not an expert, but no, I just like notice the difference. Yeah, they do. They make it really a club scene. And you in a black Christian church, you always single. You don't ever get married. You always just sow into your marriage that you ain't never gonna have. Only people get married. I was telling my husband, we were discussing this. Only people get married is the pastors' daughters and elders and deacons. You know, those are up in the higher echelon. Yeah. Everybody else, you just gonna keep being told how you gonna get married, and your husband coming. Your husband ain't coming because you ain't even wife material. What are you talking about? They ain't teaching you nothing. You ain't got no husband coming. You got people running from you. They see you there and they're like, I ain't going that way.
Yeah, they ain't gonna go that way.
So, you know, but we were saying, we noticed how the Israelite faith, a lot of people are coming, you know, like, oh, I found out who I am, but they're not changing and they're turning it into another Christianity, basically, except we know the faith in and of itself is real, but the people are not really living, you know, the faith and being transformed. Only thing it seems now with the Israelite faith, though, that was different than Christian churches. There wasn't a lot of men in the Christian churches. I mean, men were like, listen, I just keep doing ain't no difference. I'll just be in the streets and do what I'm going to do. And all the Christian women still coming to them anyway. They didn't have to go do anything. And the Israelite faith, I do notice there are a lot more men that are actually flocking to the Hebraic faith, but they're still doing what they were doing out in the streets. So that'll be the only thing I really noticed. There are a lot more men.
Thugs and gangsters and still carry that same mentality. You can take, you know, the term, you know, you can take the man out the streets, can't take the streets out the man. You know, that's why the Bible says we're supposed to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. We're supposed to become a new creature. Most people are not becoming new creatures. It's sad to see all these sisters and brothers, and sisters, I'm particularly talking to you because, once again, this question was asked by a sister. You know, all this, you know, virtuous woman. We just read that a virtuous woman delights her husband. We don't ever hear about that part. We always hear about the Proverbs 31 woman. What about the Ecclesiasticus 26, 1 through verse 1 and 2 woman? What about the woman that is going to be a benefit to her husband? They always want to talk about the flax and, you know, she's buying and selling. Okay, what about being a wife? Because, see, the definition of a virtuous woman was given well before. Go to Sarah.
I was there.
Yeah, okay. Yes. The definition of a righteous good woman was defined well before Proverbs 31. Well before. Go ahead. We're gonna read in Kepha.
Should I just start from the beginning and just go?
Read it just about the wives.
Yes, from the beginning.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So This is before Proverbs 31.
Okay.
Listen to this.
In the same way, wives, be subject to your own husbands, so that if any are disobedient to the word, they, without a word, might be won by the behavior of their wives.
Stop. So what that means is that without you running your damn mouth, well, nigga, you need to obey the father. You're a bad example. I'm not obeying. No. Without a word. Without a word, if he's disobedient, he will be won over by the behavior, not the mouth. The behavior. Go ahead.
Having seen your blameless behavior in reverence, your world should not be outward, arranging the hair, wearing gold, or putting on dresses.
Stop right there. Okay, so having seen your blameless behavior in reverence, your behavior, which will be blameless, will convict him to change. I've been convicted many times, and again, I'm gonna tell you one thing: her mouth has never convicted me. If she tries to run her mouth, you will see a rising up that you've never seen before. But her behavior, oh, that gets me to shut up. That will get me to shut up quickly. And then it goes on to say, your world should not be outward arranging of the hair. How many times do I say that? So many people in Israel's world is the outward appearance. It's the wearing of garments, it's the head covering, it's the skirt, it's the, look at my natural hair. None of that shit mean nothing if inside of you, you are dead. And I know you are dead by the people around you, by the company you keep. If you keep a bunch of dead people around you, that means you're probably dead. You're a zombie. You're walking around acting like you've got life because you can eat and walk. But in reality, you're dead. And the only thing you're set forth to do is to consume people that are living. Many of you sisters are striving to live, and then you get around some zombie and get eaten alive, and now you're wandering around with them. It takes one zombie to bite one person to pass that virus, and now you got two people who are zombies, and they're going to go and bite more people. And many of you are just running around biting people, spitting with your mouth venom into these sisters that are striving to live, and you are a bad example to them so that they go forth and do the same thing. Now we got women saying some of the stupidest shit. The spirit told me that polygyny is wrong. What spirit told you that? What spirit told you that? Just stupidity. Because you heard somebody else say it. Because somebody bit you. And now you're a zombie, a walking dead. No fruit, no manifestation of things that are good, no works, no nothing. All you have is a mouth to talk about, well, I'm a this, and I'm a that, and I'm a this, and I'm a that. When we look at your life is hell. Go ahead.
Okay, and put it on dresses. But the hidden man of the heart, with the incorruptible ornament of a meek and peaceable spirit, which is of great value before Elohim.
A meek and peaceable. What did we just read in Ecclesiasticus chapter 26? Blessed is the man that hath a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. He will fulfill it in peace because she has a meek and quiet spirit, because she's not worried solely about the outward man, but about the inward man. Because when her husband is wrong, her spirit, her behavior wins him over, not her words. So if you want to be a virtuous woman, before you get to Proverbs 31, why don't you get this down?
For in this way, in former times, the Qodesh women who trusted in Elohim also adorned themselves, being subject to their own husbands.
They adorned themselves, meaning they wore it. They were, rather than wearing, oh, look at my garments. I know I'm an Israelite because my head covering, it flows down my back. And I'm wearing all white clothing. And that proves to you that I'm pure. When you should have a dark brown on because ain't nothing about you holy. In fact, there's a lot of defilement. What does it say? At the holy Kadesh woman. Chub, go in her house. The Kodesh woman who trusted in Elohim also adorned themselves, being subject to their own husbands in former times. So we're talking about the beginning. The set apart women. They did not use their mouth. Hold on one second, please. And we're back. We just, he wanted to come out and he wanted to star in the video. He wanted to be in there.
Oh, exciting.
The baby.
Hey.
Hey. Hey, baby boy.
Hey, little.
Hi. Okay. All right. So we're finishing up First Peter chapter 3, and she's now in verse 5.
No, 6.
Okay, 6.
As Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, of whom you became children, doing good and not frightened by any fear.
Now, the next verse I'm going to read, because I'm going to do a video on this verse for us brothers. Look forward to it. It's coming. In the same way, husbands, live understandingly together. Husbands, live understandingly together, giving respect to the wife as to the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the favor of life, so that your prayers are not hindered. Brothers, so many, and I'm not going to go in this video now, have your prayers hindered because you are not dwelling understandingly with your wives. That's what the book says. That's not Brother Chris's words. That's what the book says. That's how we live. So, again, a righteous, virtuous woman was being lived well before we had to have Proverbs 31. Just like Sarah was, who was holy, who lived without fear.
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay. Also, too, we know that biblically, women are to be virtuous. But I think about it. I remind myself this. I even remind our children this. I teach this to our children, and whatever I teach to them, I always kind of teach myself, because if you weren't raised righteous, you need a lot of training and teaching yourself. So as you learn, it's like you're teaching your children, and you're also teaching yourself as well, or being taught as well. And so one of the things about virtue is, if you notice, most scriptures, most of them, not all, but most scriptures that speak about virtue speaks of a married woman. So it's like when I tell the children, as they're learning things, they'll tell me sometimes that they know, oh, I know how to do this. I already know how to do this. I know what I'm doing. And I tell them, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how to do this. Well, I did it three or four times successfully. And I said, you still don't know what you're doing. You're still learning. So it seems like a lot of us women, we are learning to be virtuous. We may have virtuous things about us, but we are constantly learning to be virtuous. And that virtue is tested, it seems, in marriage. Because why, when it says a virtuous woman, her husband, if you keep reading Proverbs 31, it talks about her husband will praise her. Is your husband praising you? So your virtue is tested, and it seems like when you're married. So if you're not even married, your virtue hasn't been tested. You may have virtuous things about yourself, and you may be continuously learning virtues. Like when you've been raised by a righteous father, that daughter is going to be a righteous and virtuous woman, but she's been taught virtue. Virtue has been put into her. She hasn't completed virtue, because she hasn't been able to test, has her husband's days been doubled. She hasn't been able to test, is her husband living in peace. How do you test that when you're single? You don't know if you are at that level of virtue to bring that. So it's like you're constantly learning virtue, you're constantly growing in virtue, you're constantly gaining virtue, and getting it down. You're in a constant state of being virtuous. You know what I mean? And then in marriage, it is constantly tested. And if you're if that's not been proven in marriage, you're not that virtuous woman. You could be learning to be that virtuous woman and growing in that virtue. And then one day, your virtue will show, because, you'll be able to see what your husband and your household is like. So just keep that in mind, please.
Everything, and I'm glad you said that. Because everything that a person does, it's shown in the test. You can claim all you want to. You can claim, well, I'm a good man. And then when the test comes, you prove you're a bad one. Oh, if I was in that situation, I would have done this. And then you're put in that situation, you do the exact opposite. Oh, if I was, when a crap hits the fan, I'm just going to go do this. And but then when you have a mini crap hits the fan situation in your life, you don't do anything close to that. It's about the test. The Bible says Yah tests and proves and tries us. If you're failing your tests, how do you then claim the reward from of the test like those who pass it? Some people pass the test. Many fail the test. And it's interesting that I see the ones who are failing it claim the reward of those who passed it. Just like this faith. There are so few people who are truly living this faith. truly living it. But they're claiming the reward of, oh, I know I'm going to the kingdom. I know. Well, yeah, Satan's got a kingdom too. How do you claim things that you are not doing? How do you claim virtuous wife when there's fruit that comes from being virtuous as a woman? Just like if you're a man of understanding and you are nurturing and cherishing and loving your wife, there's going to be fruit of that. Don't come and tell me, oh, I'll love and nourish my wife and I'm cherishing my wife. If your wife is telling you that she is suffering in certain instances in her life, like I've heard women coming, I am suffering where we're living. We're living in this apartment. We're living in the hood, and we can move out from here. We can afford it. I know we can. But he refuses to move because he loves his family. He loves his friends. You're supposed to love your wife and dwell with her accordingly. Man, I'm getting off topic. I'm supposed to be saying that for the other video. But we have so many people who are claiming things. Because we have this name it and claim it world that we learn in Christianity. Because you say it, don't make it so. Now you have to show the fruit, and the fruit is shown when you pass the tests. The fruit is shown by what you do, not by what you say. So you can claim virtuous wife all day long, but then when we go to that word and we see what a virtuous wife is, just what we read in Ecclesiastes, I want to see, okay, we got a lot of so-called Proverbs 31 women. How many Ecclesiastes 26, 1 and 2 women do we have? How many daughters of Sarah who were holy, set apart, Kodesh? How many of them do we have? How many of them? See, marriage is given such a bad stigma. It's almost like we love today. We love basking in the curses, in the things that are destroying us. The things that used to be positive, we don't have them anymore. So we just claim all the things that are negative. Broken families, broken homes, single mamas. And now it's a piling on. Brothers are piling on single women. And single women are loving their situation, trying to justify their situation as if this is where they want it to be, as if it's okay. And it's not.
Oh, man.
Good.
Oh, also, I was gonna say, here's a trend I've noticed. Hey, sweetie. Here's a trend I've noticed too. As I speak with married women, there. Oh, let's see if you can do that. Huh? As I speak with married women, there's a lot of married women that do not even call themselves virtuous wives. A lot of married women I speak to, including myself, really, we know that we're constantly, growing and striving to be the virtuous women that the Bible speaks of. But a lot of these women, when we have discussions, a lot of these women, when we have our discussions, they do not claim that they're already virtuous wives. They claim the desire to be that virtuous wife. They do not claim that they have it. They claim they want it. They don't claim they got it. They claim that they're striving to get there. A lot of times when I've heard about women already claiming to be virtuous, I've heard that from more single women or the single women that we talk to. I was speaking with a couple wives not too long ago, and they were saying some of their friends are single and they claim virtue better than the married women. They claim they got it better. They're speaking as if the reason they're single is because the men ain't never good enough. Us wives have men and are saying we ain't good enough, or we need to get there so we can we can help our men because we have good men and maybe they're struggling because of us. We speak that way. We're talking that way, whereas we're hearing single women speak, I'm single because I'm just so great and he sucked. And
But meanwhile, the Bible does say that a good woman is given to a good man. So if you've had nothing but bad men in your life, it's because you're a bad woman and you're being given to him. You are attracted to that in him. You can't say, well, I'm a good wife and I'm a good woman and all these men are just nothing when you are being attracted to them. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 50, 60, 100 bad men. And the common denominator of all those situations is you. You're the common denominator in all those situations. Go ahead.
So yes, and that's all I wanted to share. A lot of us, and like I say in my own videos that I do for us sisters, is a lot of us just need to be a lot more humble. I talk to sisters directly, and I even put myself out there, my faults, my failures, not just that I'm some great person. I let them know that I struggle too, and the areas that I had to overcome, and my strivings and my failures, and so a lot of us don't claim we're able to have real soul sister conversation because we all are like, striving, wanting to get there, desiring that we're all, the ones who have wisdom are speaking. I still tell them too, even I still need wisdom. So there are people who I learned from, or I'm still learning from, or that I get words of wisdom from. So I can have that in me, so I can learn to apply it as well. I get a lot of wisdom from my husband. He has a lot of wisdom to give, so, but we don't claim it. And I noticed that, like I said, the single women are claiming it while they don't have it. As married women, a lot of us don't even have it, because we were just like you all. We were no different. Only difference is somebody married us, I guess, but we are realizing we need to humble ourselves so we can learn, so we can grow, so we can get it and have it. And you single sisters out there the same way, humble yourself so you can get it, so you can have it.
It's right there. But you have to put yourself around people that are going to lift you up and build you. You want to be around people. We have something in this faith where we like to look down and reach down to people who are in our situation because it makes us feel better because we're rejected. So we reach down to people who are lower than us so that we can be the top person in our group, instead of reaching up to people who are stronger than us, who are better than us, who have more fruit to show. Because to people like that, we will glean from them. How do you glean from somebody if you're the top person in the group and you suck? How do you do that? It's like, when I was in school, when I was in college, all the baby mamas were hanging together and it all had the same problems. And none of them, not one of them in that group was married. So it could point to them and say, listen, this is how we get out of our situations. No, what it ended up happening is when you had 5, 6, 10 baby mamas together, they all accepted their condition. Nobody wanted better. And because everyone's just like there's no need to change because everybody's in the same position. That's the condition that we have today. If we're going to have real marriages, if we're going to get over these situations that we have, which are broken families, everyone talks about, nation building. Man, we ain't building shit except sin. There ain't no building being done. Most of these people talk about nation building and politics. You ain't building no nation. We ain't nation building. There are very few examples. Mother Gina and the elder. Read her book. Was it The Us and Them? The Us and Him? The Us and Him. I think that's what it's called.
We have it right in there.
Yeah, go ahead and grab the book.
The Them and Him.
The Them and Him. That's what it's called. But
forgive us, Dr. Gina, if we got that a little off.
Yes. I mean, we need examples. The Bible says in Titus that the older women are supposed to be teaching the younger women. Where do we have that going on? The older women who are teaching are the same ones who are single, broken, gone to 3, 4, 5 men. I mean, none of them fit the criteria in Timothy, 1 Timothy chapter 5. The husband of one wife who's raised children, who's known for her good work. We don't have that. So who's teaching the younger women? Other broken women. And the cycle continues and it perpetuates itself. If we're going to ever get out of our condition, we need to do something different. We've got to start living different. Start thinking different. We all want to come to this faith, but none of us want to renew our minds. None of us want to be different. So we look and we cleave to people who are like us, wicked, who have the same problems that we do, to justify what we're doing, to justify our sin. If I can go and cleave to this person and they're sinning the same way I'm sinning in that area, I feel less guilty. But guess what? The eyes of the Most High are still looking at your situation. We need a passion for what is right. Men, we need a passion for our families. Wives, you need a passion to be a true, real, virtuous woman, a woman that has been tested so that you know you're virtuous because you've been tested. The fruit is there, not just the words of mouth. We're going to have more of these. We've been asked to have more of these. I know that for those of you who have been long-time watchers of the channel, this one's a little more fiery, and they're going to be a little bit more fiery because enough of the game plan. Enough. I'm looking, and I know a lot of the brothers and sisters I'm talking to who are seeking fellowship. They have fellowships right around them. They're just not going to participate in any of that bullshit, any of that vanity that's going on in those fellowships. Some people have said it's a fashion show. That a lot of these fellowships are just fashion shows. It's just trying to look good amongst other people. Women, are praising Yah, swiveling their hips and shaking their ass at the same time. Right. You can take the person out the streets, you can't take the streets out the person. You can take the men out of Christianity, but you can't take the Christianity out the man. You can take the woman out the brothel, but can't take the brothel out the woman. We got a lot of that going on. So I'm hoping that for those who are seeking, they find it. I'm not saying that I have all the answers, because I don't. But the answers I do have has borne forth fruit. I hope you have a blessed Shabbat.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.